Well, first, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome you to our event this evening. I'm Patrick Quinn. I'm the Dean of the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and just wanted to sort of have 2 minutes of your time to just perhaps put you into an understanding of why we thought this was an important event and why we're so pleased to have you all here this evening. I think it's altogether fitting and proper that the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences has found a way to bring this tribute to the righteous Greeks for our esteemed audience tonight. In particular, that the Department of History, Philosophy, and the Ancient World should bring this program on campus this evening. I'd like to thank the head of the department, Mr. Gassenschmidt, for his good work on this. You know, the liberal arts stands for the kind of education that helps us understand that human dignity can and will prevail over oppression and indignity. That despite the fact that today's world appears like a chaotic, swirling tornado of hatred, hopelessness, and dread, the liberal arts teaches us that the human spirit will endure through the morass of discord. By holding on to the values of the ancients, the creativity of the Renaissance, the rationality of 18th century science and 19th century progress, and the 20th century's emergence into a more just society. From the writings of Aristotle to Spinoza, from Da Vinci to Van Gogh, we see the courage of human beings who believed in the transcendental spark in mankind to strive beyond the pettiness, beyond the prejudices, and beyond the instinct of self-preservation itself, when the unthinkable happens. The proof is the topic tonight in our tribute to the righteous Greeks who stood fast in times of the Holocaust. I think about this, and I hope you do as well. I will now turn the microphone over to the director of Chabad, Greece, Rabbi Mendel Hendel, for his introduction. Thank you very
much. Good evening. First, I would like to thank the American College of Greece and the Dean, Dr. Patrick Quinn, for hosting us tonight. Gratitude is essential in Jewish teachings. In fact, the very word Jewish, Yehudi, comes from the name of one of Jacob's sons, Yehuda, which means to give thanks. We start each morning with thanking God for giving us another day, and we are reminded to act with gratitude and respect to our parents that brought us into the world, as well as to the people that show us kindness. This evening we are gathered to express our gratitude and pay tribute to those individuals who saved lives during World War II, at great risk to their personal safety and that of their families. Their light shines even brighter considering the general climate of apathy and indifference at best, and collaboration and betrayal at worst, that was prevailing during this dark period. To take an active stand instead of standing on the side was a courageous and daring action that few took. Some of those heroes were in leadership positions, but many others were simple people that cared. While listening to the testimonies of those righteous people, what amazed me is that most of these people did not think that they were doing something special. They just felt that this was what they needed to do. Holocaust survivor and Nobel Prize recipient Elie Wiesel said, "We must know these good people who helped Jews during the Holocaust. We must learn from them, and in gratitude and hope, we must remember them." We feel gratitude and admiration when we hear these stories. But what is important is that these should not just stay as stories, but inspire us in our lives of today. What better way to remember those special people than to keep their legacy of courage and humanity alive in our personal behavior? These righteous people teach us to care for the other and not to turn our eyes away. even during normal times, when we are not faced with such life and endangering challenges. We do not need to wait for the other to be in life danger to be concerned and offer help, be it a friend or acquaintance, or a stranger of perhaps a different culture or religion. As we are inspired and inspire others to add small acts of care and kindness, the light we bring to the world is the best tribute we can give to the heroic deeds of those righteous Gentiles. I will now give the word to Mrs. Nechama Hendel, co-director of Chabad of Greece.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our event tonight is dedicated to the righteous Gentiles, a title given to non-Jews who, at the risk of their lives, saved Jewish people during World War II. This evening is organized by the Department of History of the American College of Greece, in cooperation with Chabad of Greece and ISGAP, the Institute for the Study of Global Antisemitism. The title of the evening is Bystanding and Standing By, the title of the documentary of Mrs. Fofo Terzidou, of which we will show excerpts a little later. Bystanding or standing by. Look the other way or take action. This was the choice that confronted people during the stormy period of World War II, when the Nazis turned to arrest their friends and neighbors and send them to the death camps. A few men and women made the heroic choice of standing by their fellow human beings and rescue them, and to these we pay tribute tonight. Some have been recognized, others are still anonymous. Some acted with fiery courage, others in quiet dedication. A lot of stories have been told, but others may never get known because the Nazis executed many of these righteous Gentiles. Tonight, we wish to honor the memories of all of them. It is my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Gassenschmidt, who will talk to us about righteous Gentiles in Germany. Dr. Gassenschmidt earned his master's in Modern and Eastern European History and European Ethnology at Freiburg University, Germany, and his PhD in Modern European History at Oxford University, UK. He is a specialist in Russian, American, and Modern German history, and he is teaching for the last 20 years at the American College of Greece, presently serving as the head of the history department. Dr. Gassenschmidt.
Thank you very much for your warm words. Some of you will be very surprised to hear that there were righteous Gentiles in Germany. All my life, actually, I've been a historian that always looked for the gray and not the black and white. And if you start digging, it's the same thing with the German resistance against the Nazis, you find a lot of courageous people that did a lot of things and risked their lives. Before I go on, I want to go straight into the presentation. So generally speaking, there were righteous Gentiles in Germany at all levels. Now you will be very surprised to see this. Yad Vashem acknowledges more than 25,000 righteous among the nations in total, and 587 come from Germany. And these are the recognized cases. There are a lot of cases that are not reported, that are anonymous. And the first case, I call it the armed forces because it is everything mixed. And here I named especially Kurt Gerstein. He was an SS Obersturmbannführer. He joined the SS as a part of the Confessing Church. What he did actually was he informed the diplomatic corps of other countries about what was happening in Germany. He sabotaged the delivery of Zyklon B to the concentration camps. He tried to save as many people as possible. His problem was that he was captured after World War II by the French, and he died under mysterious circumstances before Jewish people could actually come to testify in his favor. Kostas Gavras made this film. I mean, you may have seen it, I don't know. I encourage always my students to watch movies, you know, like to get to know a little bit more history, to trigger their interest in history. And since the young generation is a visual, audiovisual generation, and they love to watch films, I just do that with them. The next case you might know actually, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Anyone here? No, Bonhoeffer? He was a pastor, basically, Protestant pastor. Now you will see some really interesting facts. He spoke up against the Nazis and got into trouble many times in the 1930s. He was arrested several times by the Gestapo. He joined the Abwehr, the military intelligence, and here you must know that the Abwehr consisted of mainly non-Nazis. Yeah? Canaris made sure that there were no Nazis involved. And he was a kind of a double agent, basically, Canaris. He informed the Allies at the same time as he was doing his job as military intelligence. And he was playing a dangerous game, and Bonhoeffer was also involved. The Allies were informed about the Holocaust by these people, so they cannot say we didn't know anything about it. And this is the reason why they joined the Abwehr or the SS, because this way you get to official papers, recognized state papers. You cannot, otherwise you have to forge papers, and that is basically easy to detect. But if you are taking, let's say, papers from the Abwehr or Gestapo or God knows what, then you are safer, then you get better papers. That's why. He was eventually arrested, imprisoned, and executed, as you can see, a few weeks before the end of the war. Not only was he executed, he was also humiliated. They stripped him naked when they hung him. That's the real Bonhoeffer, and this is the film, also a movie. This is also a great change lately, in the last 20 years, that more and more movies come out that actually tell the story. Then this case here is actually the book I received 2 days ago, and I just discovered it. This was one of the findings I did while I was searching. Major Karl Plage, he saved more than 1,000 Jews in Vilnius, Lithuania, and the funny part is that it was very easy to cheat the SS and the Gestapo, etc. You could actually, it was easier than you thought, you know, like to save people. Now look what he did. He took on his workshop Jewish men, no matter what they had as a background, and claimed they were qualified people. And they ate it. And he also brought women and children and saved them, arguing that this would boost the morale of the people. And that's his image. He is actually recognized by Yad Vashem. Okay? Kurt Gerstein, the first one, is not, because his story is really very complex. And this is what the rabbi also said. Sometimes they just did it because they thought it's the right thing. So they like, I help because I have to help, and I see there needs to be someone that speaks up or does something. This is a man that I discovered today, the last addition to the presentation, Heinz Bossel. He was a lieutenant in the Wehrmacht. He actually tried to sabotage any orders that he got. He, let's say, they captured some Red Army soldiers and he just let them go. Actually, he learned some Russian before in the 1930s, so he communicated actually with a Russian officer that he had captured. And, yeah. Eventually, he got actually married after Marianne Hirschfeld became his wife. He rescued her when he was at home for holidays from the war. And he met her, she wanted to commit suicide, he saved her life and the 2 children, and then after the war he met her again, coincidentally in Berlin, and they got married. This is the couple. And a book was made also on the story of his, came out relatively recently. And this is a presentation of his from the year 2004. So if you want, I can give you the mail address and you can have a look. It's about a 50 minutes presentation. He died in 2008. Anton Schmidt, also a guy I came across a few months ago, he was also in Vilnius. He saved also Jews by claiming that they are valuable workers and he needs them for the war production. And this is a plaque that has been put in Germany. That was the image. And Wolfgang Wetter, a colleague of mine from Germany, has written a book a few years ago about him. So you see, over the years, more and more publications come out about these people. The problem with these people is they acted in secrets. They could not tell anyone. And everybody had to be quiet about it. So there are no witnesses. And then, how many survivors are still there that can testify for these people? That's the problem. This man, all of you know, Oskar Schindler. It was actually quite funny. I don't know whether you've seen the film or you've read about Oskar Schindler. He basically, let's say, bribed the commanders and gave them anything just to save as many people as possible. It was actually a quite nice movie with Liam Neeson playing Oskar Schindler, and this is the movie. He is, of course, recorded in Leopold. And then there were ordinary German citizens, like the story came out about 2 years ago, so in the film, Unter Bauern. In English it's called Saviors in the Night. And it's based on Margaret Spiegel's book, Saviors in the Night. What happened, a Jewish family was hidden and saved for 2 years on a farm in Westphalia. And this is the actual film. I think there is also a version with English subtitles. I encourage you to watch this, it's really interesting. It came out fairly recently. And this is a German actor, Michael Degen. I also found out by coincidence that he was actually saved by various unknown German people in Berlin in the last year of the war. They made a film out of it, which you see the middle part, and this is a part of the film. He was hidden by many people. They had to change apartments every week or every 2 weeks because it was very dangerous, as you know, to hide people. So, and there were snitches that would inform the Gestapo and all that. So they have to be really, really careful. Hans Rosenthal was an entertainer that became famous after World War II. That was him. Became very famous in German TV. He was actually also saved by righteous Gentiles for the entire period of World War II. Then Ralph Giordano, him you may know. The name comes from the fact that his father was Italian, his mother was Jewish. He was also persecuted many times, arrested many times, and he was hiding in a friend's cellar. And this whole thing also came out in a TV series called The Bertinis. And you see the whole experience, how the whole family was basically saved. That's the series. That's him. And that's a part of the film. And then for the last, because I see I have to cut, otherwise, like there's out of the microphone or something. There's a museum now in Berlin, and this is a nice thing actually, that in 2008 a museum opened, which commemorates Germans, righteous Gentiles in Germany. You see, it took 63 years for this to happen, 63 years. And I don't know whether I could give this speech in Germany, to be honest. I don't know. Because my colleagues have a serious issue with this problem, especially these issues. So they have listed about 3,000 silent heroes, but historians believe that there are many more.